Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Germana and today we are going to practice Italian together. In particular, we are going to focus on direct and indirect object pronouns and we're going to use them both separately and together in sentences. But first guys, if you want to see any other Italian grammar videos from me in the future, just make sure to subscribe down below and turn on my post notifications so you never miss another upload. Are you ready? Let's get started! Before we start, if you don't know what direct or indirect object pronouns are, I suggest you watch these two videos up here. Okay, so we are going to start with direct object pronouns and then we're going to move on with indirect object pronouns. But make sure you stay tuned till the end of this video because we are also going to work on combined pronouns, also known as double object pronouns, pronomi doppi. As you probably already know, direct and indirect object pronouns can be found both in tonic and atonic forms. The direct object pronoun replaces the object of a sentence. Let's see an example. Hai mangiato le fragole? Sì, le ho mangiate. Le stands for le fragole, so it replaces the object. As a matter of fact, this last sentence can also be said like Sì, ho mangiato le fragole. But it would sound redundant. That's why we prefer replace nouns with pronouns. To quickly recap all the Italian direct object pronouns, I've summarized everything in a table that you can download by clicking on the Google Drive link down below, which will lead you straight to the PDF file. And now let's start practice together. Number 1. Luca cucina la pizza. What direct object pronouns would you choose to replace la pizza? Correct, it is la. Luca la cucina. So la stands for la pizza. Number 2. Pulite voi l'appartamento? What direct object pronoun would you choose to replace l'appartamento, the object of this sentence? The correct pronoun is lo. Lo pulite voi? Number 3. Valerio porta gli amici a casa. What's the object in this sentence? Gli amici. So we can replace this object gli amici with the direct object pronoun li. Valerio li porta. So for sure you've noticed that we always put the direct object pronoun before the verb. So when you use the noun, the object comes after, usually, after the verb. But when you use the pronoun to replace it, the pronoun comes first. Numero 4. Abbraccio te forte. What direct object pronoun in the atonic form, because we are using only atonic forms, would you choose to replace te? Abbraccio te forte. Te is the object of this sentence. It is actually a pronoun, but it is in the tonic form. What direct object pronoun would you choose to replace it? Te is replaced by ti. Ti abbraccio forte. Number 5. Chiamo voi nel pomeriggio. Voi is the object of this sentence. And we choose vi as the direct object pronoun to replace it. So the sentence becomes Vi chiamo nel pomeriggio. Number 6. Hai comprato le patate? Le patate is the object of this sentence. What direct object pronoun would you choose to replace it? It's le. So the sentence becomes Le hai comprate? Number 7. Paolo e Caterina hanno invitato me. Me is the object of this sentence and it's the direct object pronoun in its tonic form. What pronoun would you choose to replace it? This pronoun becomes mi in its atonic form. So the sentence becomes Paolo e Caterina mi hanno invitato. Number 8. Per lo spettacolo hanno truccato noi. Noi is the object of this sentence. What direct object pronoun in its atonic form would you choose to replace it? It's ci. Per lo spettacolo ci hanno truccato. Let's now continue with indirect object pronouns. As the name suggests, these pronouns replace indirect objects in a sentence, and you can easily recognize them by asking yourself this simple question: to whom or to what? In Italian we say a chi, a che cosa. Let's now practice with them. Number 1. Offro a Luca una birra. To whom am I offering a beer? To Luca. As a matter of fact, gli stands for a lui, a Luca. Gli offro una birra. The most common verbs that require indirect object pronouns are chiedere, dare, dire, insegnare, mandare, offrire, prestare, rispondere, scrivere, telefonare. Of course, to recap all the Italian indirect object pronouns, I summarized everything in a table that you can easily download by clicking on the same Google Drive link down below, which will lead you straight to the PDF file. Let's now continue practice. Number 2. I nonni vogliono molto bene a noi. A noi is the indirect object pronoun in this sentence. How would you replace it? The sentence becomes I nonni ci vogliono molto bene. Ci stands for a noi, and it's the indirect object pronoun. Number 3. Telefono a te nel pomeriggio. What's the indirect object pronoun in this sentence? It's a te. So the sentence becomes ti telefono nel pomeriggio. Number 4. Oggi insegno a voi il congiuntivo. A voi is the indirect object pronoun. So the sentence becomes oggi vi insegno il congiuntivo. For sure, you're noticing that there are similarities between direct and indirect object pronouns, but of course their meaning is different, okay? Because direct object pronouns refer to direct objects, while indirect object pronouns refer to indirect objects. So what's important is that you recognize what kind of verb you're using, if it's transitive or intransitive. Number 5. Scriviamo una cartolina ai nostri genitori. Ai nostri genitori is the indirect object in this sentence. How would you replace this indirect object? The indirect object pronoun is gli. So the sentence becomes gli scriviamo una cartolina. Number 6. Il professore ha dato a me un bel voto. What's the indirect object in this sentence? A me. So the sentence becomes il professore mi ha dato un bel voto. Great. Number 7. Ho scritto a lei una lettera. What's the indirect object in this sentence? A lei. Le stands for a lei. So the sentence becomes le ho scritto una lettera. Number 8. La mamma ha chiesto alle figlie di aiutarla in cucina. What's the indirect object in this sentence? Alle figlie. So the sentence becomes la mamma gli ha chiesto di aiutarla in cucina. So now what happens instead if we want to combine direct and indirect object pronouns together? Let's come back to example number 1 of indirect object pronouns. Offro a Luca una birra. We said that gli replaces a Luca. So the sentence becomes gli offro una birra. That said, have you noticed that we also have a direct object in this sentence? Guess what I'm talking about? Yes, it's the beer. Una birra. I'm offering Luca a beer. I'm offering him it. How do we say this? Una birra can be replaced by the direct object pronoun la. So the sentence would become gliela offro. What's gliela? Gliela is a combined pronoun formed by the indirect object pronoun gli that stands for a lui, a Luca, to him, plus the direct object pronoun la, which stands for una birra, that is the direct object pronoun. Easy peasy, right? Let's continue with some other examples. Number 2. A me presti la fotocamera? How would you replace a me and la fotocamera? So before we combine these pronouns together, I want you to focus on this. When we combine direct and indirect object pronouns, we always put indirect objects first and then we add the direct object. So in this sentence, me is the indirect object pronoun and la is the direct object pronoun. Thus, the sentence would become me la presti? You see, me precedes la because it is the indirect object pronoun and la is the direct object pronoun. Let's see another example. Number 3. A te invio un pacco. What's the direct and indirect object pronouns? Un pacco is the direct object pronoun and a te is the indirect object pronoun. So this sentence becomes te lo invio. Te stands for a te and lo stands for un pacco. Number 4. La zia ha cucinato la pasta a noi. The pasta is the direct object and a noi is the indirect object. So the sentence becomes la zia ce la ha cucinata. La zia ce l'ha cucinata. We drop the a of the pronoun la because it has the same sound of the verb a, which comes from avere. So it would sound redundant to say la ha cucinata, and we prefer to drop the a for this reason. Number 5. Hai comprato i biglietti del concerto a lui? I biglietti is the direct object and a lui is the indirect object. So the sentence becomes glieli hai comprati? In addition, I also want you to focus on the past participle of the verb comprare. In the first sentence, when we used the tonic forms of the pronouns, we said hai comprato i biglietti, while in using the atonic pronoun, we said hai comprati, glieli hai comprati. Usually when we form passato prossimo with a transitive verb like comprare, we use the verb avere, to have, as auxiliary verb, and the past participle remains unchanged throughout the whole conjugation. Io ho comprato, tu hai comprato, lui, lei ha comprato, noi abbiamo comprato, voi avete comprato, loro hanno comprato. So the past participle comprato, it's the same for all pronouns. But when we use direct, indirect, or combined object pronouns, the ending of the past participle that forms passato prossimo changes according to the gender and the number of the pronoun. Let's see another example. Ho cucinato la polenta a voi. Guess now how the verb ho cucinato from the verb cucinare, to cook, changes if we replace la polenta with a direct object pronoun. The sentence would become ve la ho cucinata. Ve is the indirect object pronoun which stands for a voi. La is the direct object pronoun which stands for la polenta. And ho cucinata is passato prossimo of the verb cucinare. you see the past participle that composed it turned into cucinata because we used the direct object pronoun la, which is feminine. So cucinato changed according to the gender of the object, and it turned into cucinata. As a matter of fact, la polenta is feminine. Let's continue with some other examples with combined pronouns. Number 7. Comprerò delle rose alle mie cugine. Delle rose is the direct object, and alle mie cugine is the indirect object. So the sentence turns into gliele comprerò. Number 8. Roberta ha dato la mancia alla cameriera. How would you replace la mancia? And how would you replace alla cameriera? The sentence becomes Roberta gliela ha data. I'll give you another example to practice one more time. Number 9. Davide ha chiesto un chiarimento alla professoressa. What's the direct object and what's the indirect object in this sentence? Un chiarimento is the direct object and alla professoressa is the indirect object. So the sentence turns into Davide glielo ha chiesto. So good, that's all for today's lesson. These were my exercises for you today, guys, and I hope you found them useful and that you learned something. Of course, if you have any question, please let me know in the comment section down below, and also don't forget that I became an online Italian tutor on italki. So now, if you want to get to know me and book a trial lesson with me, you can find all the information in the description box down below. You know, italki completely changed my life. Since I started teaching Italian there, I connected with wonderful people from all around the world, and that's really amazing, guys. italki gives you the possibility to have one-on-one online lessons whenever and wherever you want, and all you need is just a long and stable internet connection. This is definitely the most efficient way to reach language fluency. So click on the link in the description box to earn 10 USD italki credits when you sign up for your first lesson. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on my Facebook, Instagram and Twitter account. See you next time. Ciao!